It has been said that absolute power corrupts. Tyrone Bowman Live. Welcome to the program on tonight and welcome to the conversation. We're on a journey. We're on the road to getting 2,000 subscribers. And with your help, I know it's going to happen. So will you join and become one of those to help me to reach that golden number, 2,000 subscribers on Tyrone Bowman Live. Tonight, a special report. I'm talking about an article that was written in the dispatch.com. The headline reads, Autocrats on the knife's edge. There are a few good retirement options for gangsters. So I'll be talking about autocrats and power on this edition of Tyrone Bowman Live. And if you want to converse with me, if you want to send me a message, you can simply hit me up at my email address, TyroneBowmanSenior@gmail.com. That's TyroneBowmanSenior@gmail.com. And if you'd like to become a financial supporter of Tyrone Bowman Live, you can send us a contribution at $PIEXEL number 4. That's $PIEXEL number 4. Just simply type in my name, Tyrone Bowman Senior, and everything will come up. All right, let's define what an autocrat is. Autocrat is defined as, according to Wikipedia, the Wikipedia dictionary, a ruler who has absolute power. Autocrat, a ruler who has absolute power. An example would be someone who insists on complete obedience from others, an imperious or domineering person. Isn't that something? Kind of like the kings of England were. America was born to a bloody revolutionary war because of the autonomous autocratic power of the king. And America became a republic. America never had a king. We always had a president. And now, it seems like absolute power, or the autocrats in America are attempting to rule. So let me get down into this article here as reported by the dispatch.coms. And I want to give credit to the writer of the article. It's Kevin D. Williamson. Okay, here we go. Quote, according to the dispatch.coms, when people in the West are reading about civil unrest in China, things in China are bad normally, Beijing does a reasonably effective job of suffocating news about domestic political discontentment. As the Wall Street Journal reports, there has been a rush of knife attacks, vehicular homicides, and things of that nature that have the men who rule China on the edge. I do not have a lot of the hell-raising Jefferson Jackson element in me. I'm an Adams Eisenhower man, but upon reading the journal's report, according to the author of the article, quote, my first thought was, these people need guns, lots of guns. I'd be happy to contribute 10,000 rounds of ammunition to the cause and cover the freight if the Chinese people should decide to drag their oppressors out of their palaces by their heels and murder the lot of them. It would be an act of justice. But it also would be dangerous chaos, with American leadership in retreat, and there is no denying that it is, irrespective of how you feel about it. To where do freedom-seeking people turn? Germany, the United Kingdom, the Ayatollahs have Israel to deal with, and the sanctions targeting Russia haven't been trivial. But in the main, the tyrants have problems at home that have very little to do with outside pressure or influence. Xi Jinping, like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, knows that there are few good retirement options for gangsters. Bashar al-Assad, who is not yet 60 years old, could, as an actuarial calculation, expect to have at least a couple of decades left in him. He's going to be a lot of trouble and expensive for his Russian host, who are having a little bit of difficulty affording much of anything right at the moment, with interest rates at 21% and the ruble on the rocks. A note to the U.S. President elect, now President Donald Trump. This would be a terrible time to force a peace deal on the Ukrainians and, in effect, bail out Moscow. Rather, this is the time for an all out blitzkrieg on the Russian economy. But Assad's despondent retirement is not the worst possible outcome. The most likely endgame scenarios for Xi Jinping are either 1. Clinging to power and dying in his bed, 2. The Caesian retreat or treatment. As satisfying as the latter would be, the best thing for the United States would be a China that transitions in the most peaceful and orderly way possible into something better. And China does not have to look to Washington or London or Brussels for a model of how to manage its affairs. Hong Kong had an economic and political model that worked nothing short of a miracle in the 50 years after the end of World War II. Yes, that happened in the British colony context, but Hong Kong more than proved that Chinese people can rule their own affairs in a liberal, open, and magnificently prosperity-creating way. If Chinese nationalists really want their country to be a genuine superpower, all they have to do is look to their own recent history. The secret of the secret sauce is that there is no secret. There isn't something in the Anglo-Saxon gnome that gives the English-speaking people special access to liberty and decent government. The Hong Kong model will get it done. Our so-called nationalists here at home have looked long with envy at corporatist nationalist states such as Russia and China. The excesses of American liberty they believe had made Americans weak, soft, unable to compete in a vicious zero-sum world. And yet, China is convulsed with political discord at home. Russia has encountered catastrophic in Ukraine, even with only desultory half measures from the United States and Europe. Iran was riding high after its proxies carried out the massacres and other outages of October 7, 2023, but now finds itself much reduced with its proxies all but eliminated, with Iran chastened and Russia overextended. The Assad regime is gone, swept away in a matter of days. The would-be Legion of Doom, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, is in dire straits. I don't care for revolutions, and I do not think there is any great need to remake Chinese society or Iranian society or Russian society, and it is not as though the cultures and civilizations or things can simply be taken apart and put back together in some improved form by enlightened philosophers kings. Nor do I care for oversimplifying pragmatism, but there are things that work and things that do not work. We have a pretty good idea of what those things are. Good things like property and honesty are not alien to China or Iran or Russia. And that's really the only kind of revolution in domestic affairs these countries require. Security in property and rules that are administered and enforced in an honest, open, and even-handed way. Yes, simple to write, much less simple to do. Agreed? It is ironic that Americans have chosen to re-elect the most pseudo-Russian figure in American politics at the very moment similar caudillists abroad are having such an unpleasant encounter with non-negotiable reality. But we will get through this and eventually figure out, once again, that there are better courses of action than entrusting the vast power of the American state to elderly incompetents and fanatics and mobs. We are rich enough and powerful enough that we can afford some foolishness, though not too much of it. When the United States endures a period of economic stagnation or cruelly high inflation, Americans throw out the president and install a new one. They believe for some reason that this will fix the problem. It won't, because inflation and recessions aren't caused by having the wrong kind of president. The Chinese people do not have that option. Their choices are to endure the viciousness and incompetence of Ng and the ruling junta, or to fight them. And unlike Donald Trump, Ing Ping doesn't have the option of sitting out around and then running for the top job again. His options are to effectively oppress the Chinese people or to make a run for it. Ing is not a stupid man, and he knows how many emperors have been done in by their own bodyguards. The edifices of tyranny always look solid, but seldom prove so. Beijing may have 2 million active duty troops at its disposal, but they're not nearly numerous enough, or good enough to keep down 1.4 billion Chinese people if those Chinese people decide that, like the Syrian people, they have had their fill. It isn't a brute force problem, it is a bell the cat problem. There are better ways to govern a people. The Chinese knew that, or the Chinese know that rather. So do the Russians and the Iranians. So do we Americans on a good day, when we are halfway sober. Even the jihadists who have knocked off the Assad mafia feel obliged to make moderating noises and gestures. The world has plenty of autocracy, illiberalism, and nationalism to go around. But those are not what has made the United States into a superpower. To repeat, there is no secret. The way to prosperity is not easy, but it is not a mystery either. For better and for worse, the bits of the world that are happy and prosperous and stable are built on the same foundations: property and the rule of law. So, who exactly is Keith D. Williamson? Well, Kevin D. Williamson. Kevin D. Williamson is a national correspondent at the Dispatch and is based in Virginia. Prior to joining the company in 2022, he spent 15 years as a writer and editor at National Review. He also worked as a theater critic at the New Criterion and had a long career in local newspapers. He is also a writer in residence at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. When Kevin is not reporting on the world outside Washington for his Wonderland newspaper, you can find him at the rifle range or reading a book about literally almost anything other than politics. So, till the next time, never surrender, never quit.